All right, in this video, I'm going to talk about overcoming objections that would potentially come out after you present the rates during your presentation, okay? When you get objections at the end of your presentation, after you deliver the rates, that is a direct reflection on your presentation, okay? So during your presentation, there are 4 things that you need to understand about your client, okay? You need to understand why they want this coverage. You need to understand what's held them back from buying coverage before. You need to let them know why they should buy from you, what sets you apart, and why they should buy your product and not your competition's product. Okay, so let's talk through that. So let's talk about why this person wants coverage in the first place. During your discovery session, you're asking questions on the why. Why do they even want this coverage? And I find a lot of agents, they are saying that most people buy for these reasons, 1, 2, or 3. Which of these reasons apply to you? That is not an effective way to do this. You need to do effective questioning, ask the right questions, and then probe even further to really get them to explain why they need this coverage. Because if somebody says, I just want to make sure my family doesn't get inconvenienced, right? You want to find out, okay, what about that, right? Why? And keep kind of probing to understand the why and get them to say it. Use their own words to express why they want this coverage, okay? So once they get that, remember, these people have never talked to somebody about life insurance in the way that they're talking to you about life insurance. If you're on the phone for somebody about 15, 20 minutes even, and you're talking about protecting family with life insurance, what happens after they die, guys, they don't have these conversations. This is a very important conversation to them. And you need to get it out of them. Why? Okay? They want to have this discussion with you. So you have to find that reason why they want the coverage. Don't just get a one-line answer. Keep probing, keep asking questions about why, okay? So if you can do that, your objections at the end of the call will become less, okay? So that's the first thing. You want to understand why, but you also want to understand what stopped them from buying coverage in the past. And you do that again in your discovery and your situational questions, where you understand, if they have coverage or they don't have coverage. And if they don't have coverage, you want to know what's held them back from getting coverage in the past, because that's the same thing that's going to hold them back from buying from you after you present the rates, okay? I find a lot of people don't get that information, right? You want all the objections to come out in a more low pressure situation when you're just getting to know them, you're asking back and forth questions, because when they give you an objection after the rates, that's a high pressure situation for your prospect, right? Right now, they're in the situation where they're gonna spend money or they're not. And that's very high pressure for them. So you want these conversations to come out during your discovery process. So why don't they have coverage right now? Okay, is it too expensive? Okay, so if we can find something affordable for you, is there anything else holding you back right now? And so if they tell you at the end of the call that they want to think about it and there's nothing else, they just told you there's nothing else holding you back, because it was too expensive before, that's why they didn't buy, you now have something to work with here. Instead of getting combative at the end of the call, when they say that they need to think about it, because they've procrastinated this long their whole entire life, right? Not having life insurance, not protecting their family. They're going to procrastinate again unless you find out their situation, dig into their situation. And if you do that, they're going to care, right? It's going to seem like you care too. Because now you're on you have this kind of mutual understanding of each other. You as an agent understand their situation and they know that you care because they're getting asked questions they've never been asked before. And if you're on the phone with them, they're engaging in conversation. They want this coverage. They just need to know that they want to buy it from you. Is this the person? Is this the product? Is this the price, right? So that's how you make it more comfortable. But you've got to get through what's held them back from buying coverage before, okay? That'll lessen the amount of objections you get at the end of the call, right? So why they need the coverage, what's held them back from getting coverage, and now why they should buy from you. So you need to separate yourself from other products, other agencies, other agents out there in your scripting process. You do a little bit of that in the beginning, right? When you say who you are, what you do, things like that. But right before you get into rates, you need to separate yourself from other people. And you do that through education. Like, you're gonna introduce problems that they didn't know that they had, and how you help them, right? And so you're gonna build their trust right before you give them the rates, and you're gonna separate yourself from that client. We do that in our scripting process, and that's really important to not get objections at the end of the call. Now, why should they buy your product and not the competition's product, right? That's something going in the back of everybody's mind. When they call into a TV commercial, they fill out a form on Facebook or wherever they fill out a form, and they're on the phone with you, right? You could build all the rapport in the world, but in the back of their mind, is this a good deal? Am I doing the right thing? Any consumer buying anything is thinking that, right? Do they want to go research their options? So you need to make sure that they understand, and you do this in your scripting process, they need to understand why they should buy your product and why it's better than the competition's product, right? And you do that right before you deliver the rates, right? You talk about this company's been in business over 100 years. They have an A+ rating with AM Best, talk about claims paying abilities and all this stuff. Build up that company, right? Make them feel comfortable. They have this terminal illness benefit where you can, you get access to your death benefit. If if you're diagnosed with something where you're going to die within the next 12 months, you have full control on where this money goes. This company gives this to you for free with this product, right? They're buying into the product before you're giving the rates, okay? Those 4 things, guys, if you can deliver those 4 things, you get their why, and they express it, and you probe, and you have a conversation about it, right? You understand their situation. What stopped them from buying life insurance before? Because they've procrastinated this long, right? You understand their situation, and you have a mutual understanding of what you're trying to accomplish with this call. What stopped them before, so you don't get the I need to think about it at the end, right? And you separated yourself. Why they should buy from you and why they should buy your product before you give them the rates. You do that, you're gonna get less objections at the end of your call. But you get less objections through your presentation, okay? And making sure those 4 things are covered in your presentation, all right? Do that, you guys are gonna see less objections at the end of your calls.